everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about The Castle School for Troubled Girls by Alyssa Scheinmel. Just looking over my notes right here. I'm going to try to do this right today. So this is a young adult contemporary novel. I have to say that I've definitely become a fan of Scheinmel's writing because she really does delve deep into the emotional spectrum of writing. I don't usually read a lot of young adult contemporary. I'm more of, as you can see by my bookcase behind me, I'm more of a young adult fantasy type reader. But, I would say in the past couple years, I really have branched out and started to read more contemporary novels. Novels that don't have any fantasy or science fiction element to them. And I have to say, I've really been missing out. I really have. I grew up on fantasy. I grew up on Harry Potter. I grew up on Dragonlance. Fantasy has always kind of been my thing. It is something that I love. It's what I like to write too. But we are now branching into contemporary fiction, and Scheinmel, she really does that beautifully. The last book I read of hers was What Kind of Girl. It did make the top best books of 2019. It was published in 2020. I did receive an arc of it, as I did with this one. Like I said, she really does delve into the emotional spectrum of what it is like to be a girl in this world that we live in. As much as we want to just imagine everything is equal and everything, it's not. But this book is more about coping with grief, dealing with our issues. So the novel follows Moira. Her parents send her off to this school. It's like a castle. It looks like a castle. And the reason her parents send her off is because she got a tattoo on her arm. It's like a red lifeline to connect her to her one and only friend who died of a brain tumor. So through flashbacks, we kind of see that she's not really handling the death of her friend in a healthy manner. She skips school. I think we all understand grief. It's a very powerful, heartbreaking moment, but I think what our loved ones would like for us to do is to not just lose ourselves in our grief and stop living our lives. My mentality is we can live our lives for that person, because as long as we remember them, they're never really gone. But that's me. That's my opinion. But anyway, that's what this novel is dealing with. But it doesn't just deal with that. It also deals with self-harm, eating disorders. I would say on the level of personality disorders, rage. I think it's impactful. It's powerful. The story follows Moira, but she's at the school with 11 other girls, and we do get to understand who these girls are through little chapter inserts that are about these girls. They're only a couple pages long to highlight why they're there. Most of them are there by choice, because a lot of them want help and they haven't been successful in getting the help that they need. So this is kind of like their last straw. So you have an anorexic, you have a cutter, you have Moira. They're all dealing with something in their own way, and you get to understand why they are. So you're getting in their head, and I do like that Shimel does that. Even in her previous book, What Kind of Girl, you're really seeing how things are more complicated than they appear on the surface. Um, Cutting oneself is more complicated. Eating disorders are more complicated than what we would perceive them to be. These are really big issues. Self-harm in any way, whether it be emotional or physical, mental, self-harm is harmful, and I like how Shine Mao really delves into this different layers of self-harm. You have mental, some of these characters do hurt themselves, like Moira. They're hurting themselves mentally, they're hurting themselves emotionally, they're hurting themselves physically, but together they do come alive. And that's what I really thought was impactful with the story. It is all about the characters. It is definitely character driven. It focuses on who these characters are, and you get lost in it when you're reading it. You get lost in the stories, you get lost in their narratives. Again, it just follows Moira, but Moira is getting to know these other girls. She's allowing herself to have friends again. We're understanding her parents. She thinks her parents sent her here because she got a tattoo. No, it's more than that. Her parents sent her there because they're worried about her, because she has completely isolated herself since the death of her friend. She's closed herself off from everyone, and you can't really live your life if you close yourself off from everyone, and that's why her parents sent her there. So it's a journey for Moira. It's a journey for all of these girls to see where they're going, where they came from, how eye-opening a lot of these issues are. There's so much depth to the story. Shimel really does delve into her stories on an emotional level, and it really just sucks you in. You're just lost in the story in a good way. You just forget everything else that's going on in your life, and you're just invested in these characters. You're invested in the story, and you're learning. You are learning to read emotion on a page, I guess you could say. I really just think it is a powerful novel. I have to give it 5 stars. Again, Shine, she doesn't bog the story down with needless detail. She just tells the story. And that's why you lose yourself in it. You're losing yourself in the emotion and in the narrative. And those inserts about the different characters, I was incredibly fascinated with those. Because you're seeing these different sides of these girls. You're seeing how they're functioning, or how they're trying to function in their life. And I love it. I just loved it. It was such an powerful, impactful novel. It's emotional. It does deal with some really tough issues, self-harm, eating disorders, grief, anger. It does deal with a lot of heavy stuff, but in a way that doesn't leave the reader exhausted or wear down. You're compelled to keep reading because it is emotional and it is well thought out. It is paced very well. The structure and development of the story is well done. This is definitely going to be one of my top favorite books of 2021. Hands down. It was just incredible. So, on that note, once again, this was The Castle School for Troubled Girls by Alyssa Shine. I recommend purchasing the book from your local bookshop. Bookstore. I will include a link on bookshop.org in the description below so that you can purchase it from there and find the resources you need to support your local bookstore in your community. If money's tight, please support your local bookstore. I already said that. Please support your local library by checking it out from your local library. Libraries are a great resource for the community, and they definitely deserve all the support that we can give them. And I hope, on that note, you all will continue to support me by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading!